So there's really no denying it. Donkey Kong Bonanza looks amazing. And it shows that even though Nintendo hasn't been the most customer-friendly company lately, they're at least still capable of making great games. But right now, I don't want to get too into the weeds of that discussion, as there's something about Bonanza that caught me off guard. Not Pauline being there, as that detail was unfortunately leaked shortly after the game was revealed, ruined the surprise, but rather it was something about Pauline that caught me off guard. And that's the fact that she seems to be fully voiced.
The planet core? But no! I'm going with DK, so you just stay away!
This detail seems to show that Nintendo wants to make her an actual character in this game, who has her own arc, character development, and backstory, as opposed to a character like Cappy, who's just kinda there. Yes, I know he wants to save his sister, but that's not a character story. It's just a plot convenience that doesn't change the narrative after Cappy joins you. But anyway, this supposed emphasis on making Pauline an actual character that matters made me think, could this game have an actual story? Allow me to explain. Yes, technically other Donkey Kong games have had stories, but they mainly just boil down to Gorilla wants bananas or simply beat the bad guy. It's not something that plays out over the course of the game, where you get to experience different narrative beats or plot points to get invested in. It's really just one track to the finish, and there's nothing wrong with this. Some game franchises just don't need a narrative, and Donkey Kong is one of those franchises. This is how I expected Bonanza to go when it was first revealed. Some bad guys come and take DK's bananas, forcing him to go get them back, and I was fine with that. But when this game got its own direct and showed off all this new stuff, I started to suspect there might be more. Now, obviously I'm not expecting the next Lord of the Rings trilogy or anything out of this game's story, but there were hints that there seems to be a lot more narrative focus than normal for a Donkey Kong game, the previously mentioned voice acting being one of them. I don't see why they'd use voice acting if they didn't care about people being invested in Pauline as a character. If she was just another Cappy, they'd only give her a few lines in the same vein as Yah, Wah, and Wahoo. Then there's the character interactions. While Pauline seems to be the only character who's fully voiced, there still seems to be actual cinematic interactions between different characters, something that Mario Odyssey, which was made by the same people, didn't really have. There are cutscenes in Mario Odyssey, but we don't really see any of its characters interact or play off of each other. The only time I can think of this happening is the ending. Pretty much all the other cutscenes are one-sided. Even the Brutals, who advertise themselves as a group, I don't think ever actually talk to one another. I say this because based on what I saw in the Direct, I think the Void Company is an evil organization done right. You have this quirky group of villains, but this time, they actually interact with both the heroes and with each other, which gives off the impression that they're characters too, unlike the Brutals who are really just obstacles. This is also the case for Donkey Kong and Pauline. Even though DK doesn't speak, by having these relevant scenes of them together doing actual stuff, they already seem to have a more compelling dynamic than Mario and Cappy did. And the game hasn't even come out yet, which brings us to the final point. That point being the actual story synopsis given to us in the Direct. Here's a brief summary. DK is swept underground where he meets Oddrock, who's later revealed to be Pauline, who wants to return home to the surface. Together they venture to the core of the planet, where it's rumored that you can have your wish granted, all while battling the Void Company, who are venturing to the planet core to grant a wish of their own. Already this presents a lot of questions that you normally wouldn't think about for a game like this. Why was Pauline trapped inside that rock? Her singing has powers, but what exactly does the Void Company want with her? What kind of wish does the Void Company want? And are the rumors of wish granting even true? All of these were questions that I had while watching the Direct. Now compare this to Mario Odyssey's plot summary. Bowser kidnaps Peach to marry her. That's really it. No further depth or questions that are raised. Sorry if it seems like I'm bashing Mario Odyssey. I absolutely love this game, but I don't think anyone would debate the statement that it's pretty bare bones narratively, even for a Mario game. Like Donkey Kong, mainline Mario games aren't exactly known for the story, but even other Mario games tend to have more narrative than this. Mario Sunshine had an air of mystery as to who's been framing Mario, and Mario Galaxy had the lore of Rosalina's storybook. Now, the fact that I've been critical of Odyssey's story might raise some red flags for Bonanza's narrative, considering these games were made by the same team. But personally, I'm not that concerned. Bonanza's advertising has already shown a greater emphasis on story than most other games like it, but even if that doesn't turn out to be the case, it still looks like a fun game with or without a compelling story. So even if everything I've said turns out to be wrong, I'm sure I'll still have a ton of fun with this game. But what do you think? Do you think this game will have an actual story, or do you think Nintendo was embellishing? I'm interested to know. But until then, see ya later.